Welcome in every to be a little bit tricky. It's a Saturday morning as we're trying to compete and do other things with the family. And two Chiefs wide receivers made some noise this morning, well, and maybe late last night. Jump in, nice to see you guys. This is another step towards the evolution of the Chiefs wide receivers that just keep out of the news over the off season. We have a couple of things we're going to go over here as I try to fix my headphones here real quick because the story of the day we thought this morning was going to be that when we got up, Xavier Worthy had been arrested, had been booked in, and I think the problem was it was too easy to believe. There's been a statement made just in the last 10 minutes or so by his attorney that says that this is an allegation that is not factual and is due to a fallout of a relationship that Xavier had been in. And when he asked this woman to leave his home, there was a refusal and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can see the actual uh, statement via a number of places, including Matt Derrick, Adam Schefter, all out there. I want to make sure that I put that out there. This is not me reporting it. This is me reacting to what others have reported that are more in the know. Again, it is out there right now. I'm going to retweet it right this second, thanks to Matt Derrick. So if you're on X, you can find that as well. So, long story short, thank you guys for being here. Not the greatest reason, at least not this morning. And nice to see all you guys. Frog Farm, been a while. Hope you're doing well. Terry, I hope so as well. This does look like there is maybe some issues going on there of maybe things that aren't clear and aren't factual, but we're going to find out. Now, what's really interesting is on 30 minutes ago, on the flip side of bad news for Xavier Worthy, a rookie in his first offseason, second year in a row, having trouble. It is the news that that Hollywood Brown is going to return to the team on what is a one-year deal up to $11 million. And that's the key phrase here, up to, because it is going to be a base salary, given that as of yesterday, they had about $3 million minus cap space. So I don't know where that came from. So it's got to be a very, very low-end deal that they are going to make an incentive. In fact, I'm just double checking to see if that changed overnight because I didn't check the cap space this morning. It is still listed as a negative 3.2 on over the cap. So that means that they either got something done over the evening or this is not going to hit until the contract hits, maybe in a couple of days. But it is going to be a one-year deal. It's going to be a low base salary is my guess, with a bunch of incentives. And that's why it's up to. And I'm certain that one of those clauses, one of those incentives will be number of games played. It just makes sense after a season that you wanted to have him fully in the fold and he was unable due to injury. So they put this clause in, they bring back Hollywood. That is step number one. If this happens to be something real with Xavier Worthy and he's unavailable and you're looking at the lack of availability possibly for part of the season with Rashee Rice, Chiefs are definitely in trouble at the position now, and that changes the landscape of what the draft and what free agency is going to have to be. But I will say this. I don't think the signing this afternoon of Hollywood Brown is a direct reaction to what happened to Xavier this morning or last night. I don't think this just comes together in a couple of hours in reacting to one player's misfortune with making a signing for another. So I believe that they're working down this path already, and that's how you can get this done at the same time. Probably whatever the last negotiating piece was, they probably caved on it pretty quick when this happened just to get the thing done, get Hollywood under contract, which I'm guessing they wanted all along. So I am going to take some of your questions. If you want on the show, make sure you hit the super chat. Every super chat gets an answer like I always do. I don't have a ton of time today because both my kids are competing today. So I'm just dropping this stuff in here when I had a chance and just I keep doing double takes on my phone all day long. So I thought I'd share it with you. Cole had a comment. Reed re-signed Hollywood, and now both Rice and Worthy could be suspended. Could be. Not will be, could be. We have to find out a lot of things before that, Cole. Yeah, absolutely. Beefy, let's see here. So no more receivers from Texas. Never understand why it's so hard to stay out of the news. You know, it's a tough transition because you go from living in a college town to just supplanted into Kansas City. You have stuff to do every day. You don't calm down. You don't have a whole lot of interaction with a lot of other people. the rigorous schedule and obviously playing through the whole season. By the time you go home and stuff starts to unfurl, things have been going on in your absence. Clearly, that's what it sounds like with Xavier. And, it's kind of hard to jump back into real life there real quick. So I can't understand why you let, with everything that you have on the line, the contract structures and all that, why you let something like that happen. But it does happen. It's not unheard of. And I hope that they get a handle on this. I hope that the Chiefs as an organization can start to put more into pre-planning for the offseason for its rookies so that you don't get into this. So that you warn them about, hey, things are going to change. There's likely going to be conflict. You have to power through this and you have to be on the high road. And I think that's important. I think there are things that the organization can do, and there is a reason for them to do it in order to keep themselves out of some of these situations. Looks better than Rice based off of what has come out. So far, so good, Scrap. And this last statement, I'll read it here in a minute if you guys haven't found it. When did the Chiefs announce the move from the AFC West to the Texas Penal League? Yeah, I don't know that they're open for applications, the Penal League, so we're going to have to find out. Possibly, Chris. Possibly. I won't say that that's a definite that they need another wide receiver. I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks, that I thought that they should bring Hollywood back because of the fit aspect. Now it makes it a little bit more, spot on, makes it a little bit more dire. If there's going to be repercussions from this, who knows? If the statement from the attorney carries any weight, then there is a chance that maybe that's not what's going to end up happening in this case. We just don't know. So let me see if I can show this to you guys and we can take a look at it together. Let me share this. And there we go. And I wish I had Seth here, because Seth and the legalese are, a match made in heaven. Not my thing usually. But you can read this. I don't need to read it word for word, but he does refer to it as an allegation. And the fact that they're making this statement, trying to get out in front of it, I think is a good sign, because they're not trying to cover anything up. They're not trying to run away from it, like we saw with Rasheed Rice in some other situations. Legally, if you ask someone to leave a residence that you own, you are in the right. There are a number of things that go wrong to that, including assault, that then kind of tops that. But there is a statement here saying that this is not what it sounds like, and the arrest was due to that. There's a lot that is going to have to continue to go into this in terms of investigation and evidence, but that is something that Chiefs have to be prepared for. They don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want to have to deal with it. You don't want to listen to it anymore, but there is some ongoing here. So we don't know if he's going to be unavailable. We don't know if you have to have another wide receiver right now. And for the franchise to go on and continue down its path, it was going to need another one anyway, I believe, because of the partial season we expect for Rasheed Rice. Could be a partial season for Xavier Worthy now. You have to have someone else in-house. And now it makes the draft plan a little bit different. Dan and I and the team, EJ and John, we are working away on the draft grades. The matrix, athletic matrix, will be out this week. I'm going to try to get it up for pre-purchase today, late today, early tomorrow, so you guys can get a handle on that. But that's coming. Those numbers are now going to be that much more important, because we have to find players that fit for the Chiefs at the wide receiver position as well. Don't know if they'll end up having to draft them, but we have to find them. We have to identify who they are so that we know what we're looking at. So we can go back, maybe rewatch the film if it's a preliminary grade that we already have in. So there's a lot that goes into this. The team's doing the same thing. We try around here and at Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, if you guys have never met us before, if you're seeing this some random time, we try at Rogue APC to act as though we're a 33rd team in this league. We go through the process as much as we possibly can. Obviously, we can't have one-on-one visits with prospects, but we can go through what the reactions have to be, and that is digging back into the wide receiver group that maybe you thought you could wait until day 3 on. Maybe that changes with this news. Beefy, even more likely we take a wide receiver in the draft now, top 3 rounds. That's the question mark for me, Beefy, is where's the borderline now? And there's a lot yet to come. Luckily, the draft isn't tomorrow, so there is some time. But you don't want to be put in a position like you were with McCall Hardman, where you're worried about what is your number one, or in this case, 1B receiver not being available, so you make an overreaction at the position, like we saw with McCole Hardman. And Brett Veach can deny that all he wants. Till my dying day, I will say that's exactly what happened. So, dirty. Chiefs players should be banned from going to Texas here on out. Seriously, what is the deal with these guys? Texas is, it's a different world. And there is something to be said for not jumping back into your old life. I think that bit Rashee Rice in particular. I'm not sure that's the case here with Xavier. This seems like a personal deal between in a relationship that can always get a little bit crazy. So I don't think that's necessarily where the event happened. That's just a tough one to deal with. With this news, can we re-sign Bolton and play him at wide receiver and linebacker? I'd be happy if he could run better as a linebacker. He's not up to the wide receiver role. I'll tell you that. Sergeant Hunter, thank you. What will the Chiefs do if both Xavier and Rashee are suspended for the start of the season? Well, that is the next question. I had said at the end of the season after the Super Bowl that I do think Nico Remigio has earned a role on this team. Most likely it's the punt returner. But now with Hollywood back, Hollywood will be your one. And you can argue that he might be your one, even if both Xavier and Rashee are on the field. It's one of those, as you go, you have to adjust. That's part of the process. And that's really just the first step. There'll be more news that you'll have to adjust to. You have to adjust again. And if there is, they're going to have to make more acquisitions. Like we're talking about the draft, but there'll be free agents as well. I've got my eye on a couple of draft prospects that I think are going to be good fits. Guys that, as I start doing the mocks next 2 weeks, something like that, we're going to start to see some of those come out. I've been working on the theory that it was going to be a day 3 pick. You always have to continue to reload wide receivers, targets in general in this offense, no matter what. Where and how now becomes a different story. So now it may be on the table. We're going to have to see what the fallout is next week and the next couple to figure that out. But I expect another free agent signing probably here, meaning that you have to redo Chris and you have to redo Patrick. We know they're going to do that. So, yeah, it is a busy day. So sorry for jumping in on you there, Terry, but thanks for being here. Is a felony grade 3. So he's facing a felony charge. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. For those that know, I'm not familiar with that code. The sky is not falling, but it's cloudy. Let's put it there. There's thunderstorms. And as you mentioned here, Sean, I don't know that Tyler Lockett has a whole lot left, to tell you the truth. But it is important because there are other wide receivers around the league being let go. There is a youth movement on across the league, and so that may open up further options for the Chiefs to do something that can help them out on the free agent market. Sean, yeah, got you. Combat Medic, appreciate you. Longtime fan and supporter. Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Would love Jalen Higgins. Yeah, Dan likes him as well. Feel he is a pretty close to T. Higgins that we wouldn't need to draft, that we didn't draft when taking CH. Your thoughts? I haven't watched him in particular yet. I've seen a few of the wide receivers, and I usually start on the West Coast prospects because I get them live. So I have live notes from games that I get to watch all, college season long. He did not make my early watch list, so I have to go find his film and watch it. And right now I'm working on edge rushers, quarterbacks, left tackles. The big 3 is what I usually attack every offseason at first, and then I will get to the wide receivers. Now, Dan's got a ton of experience with the skill position, so Dan's running down a lot of that, and I believe he's done Higgins as a review. I don't know that he's got a grade in on him yet. So I think that when we get that, we'll have a better idea, and maybe we'll pull some tape up on him because he's had the same thought as you had, so I appreciate that. Dirty, I like Lockett, but he doesn't have it anymore. That's my concern too. Chris, would you make a trade for DK? A lot of people talking about DK, yes, and he's been in the rumor mill, so that makes perfect sense. The problem is, what I understand is DK wants a new contract, and you would have to give up draft capital to get him. I do think that is probably not the way that it goes down, at least for the Chiefs. And I do think that if it gets to that point and they release him, that's a whole different story. And I do think If it was just a classic X receiver, has to go jump ball again, et cetera, something like that, I don't know that they'd go for it. But DK does have the speed that they generally look for. And I give him credit. He he had like the skinniest route tree in the history of route trees when he came out. But he has grown his capabilities and how he could fit into a system. Can he fit into this system? I'm not 100% sold, but as much as Hop did in what was a limited usage, you could probably do the same thing with DK. You just can't spend out the wazoo for that, and that's part of the problem. So we'll have to see what comes of that, Chris. And if it's for a second, I'd do it immediately and pay him. Yeah, I mean, a second round pick for him is, especially given where the Chiefs are, that's not a totally out of the question cost. It's the contract on that point. Yes, the Seahawks are. They just traded Geno Smith last night. You are going to see him because he's going to be playing for Pete Carroll in Las Vegas. It seems Max Crosby's very happy. I'm not sure why, other than his payday. But we'll see what happens there. Hey, Adam, hope you're having fun down there. You being a Canadian, get to go to Cuba, and I hope that you're enjoying the food, the flavor. I have never been, but I've sailed past it a couple of times. So I'll wave at you next time I go by. I hope you're having a good time down there. And you said no way DK comes in, not giving up first plus 30 mil. And that's crazy that someone might actually get 30 million. Taylor Swift with the voluntary joke. Come on. Thanks for doing a live about this, Ryan. Thank you, Caroline. I appreciate you. And it was just kind of last minute because I was like, wow, this is too much news in one morning for me to just pass on, even though we are super busy and they're watching over there at the door for me to get this done. I'll be there in a couple minutes. Nice to see you, Minotaur. Hope you're doing good. Cooper Kupp. Yeah, there was just a piece about Cooper, really semi saying goodbye to everyone because he does feel that he's out there. And that's okay. I don't know how much he's got left in the tank either. And again, if it's a journeyman veteran deal, much like the Hollywood is, and as we've been reported, we're live right now, but if you're seeing this later, it is reported that Hollywood's returning the Chiefs on a 1-year up to $11 million contract. Don't know the base salary yet. I have not seen that number come out yet. Good timing as the Xavier Worthy arrest. And as far as I understand, he has not been released yet. There is no bond that I'm aware of. So this is going to get complicated, it feels like, more and more as we go forward. So look for some more on that next week. We'll definitely have the Q&A on Monday night. I was going to do a mock draft tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. We may end up talking about this. So that may be it. I just don't know if the Chiefs are going to be interested in Cooper Kupp. If it's Hollywood-like contract, I could see it being partially available. We'll have to see how they feel. I'm not sure he's got it physically as much as he has in the past. Does that mean that he can't contribute? I don't know. I don't think that it's necessarily a slam dunk, but as they get through the first wave of free agency, he may become more of a reality. If we're going to trade and spend money on wide receiver, I'd rather bring back Hill over Metcalf. Yeah, I don't think the Dolphins are going to give him up. He can bitch and moan all he wants. I don't think they're going to let him go. So he's going to have to play out that contract, is my guess. Can we get Harold Landry? They can. I don't know that it helps much, though. Honestly, if it's not left tackle and now the wide receiver position, again, if they can't put up points, improving the defense isn't going to help, I don't think. The defense has stood up pretty well the last 2 years and helped them. And the offense has got to get back to where they can consistently put up 28 points. And we just haven't seen that. So they could do that, but that money is probably allocated for better usage on the offensive side of the ball, Terry. I'm not sure it is about availability as well. So we'll have to keep looking. Said not to jump to conclusions. And Seth's the guy to listen to. So I am with that. Yeah, that's what I'm reading into that statement as well, Aaron. Burden, if he falls to 31, sorry if this was already covered, doing a lot on mocks, and he keeps being available. Yeah, he's available because nobody seems to like his attitude. There are a lot of questions about his mentality coming into the league. And honestly, I don't know that Luther Burden's going to go in the top 50 at this point. I don't think teams are willing to take many more chances. This team in particular, after this, a kid that has been, as we understand, squeaky clean and done everything he's been asked to do, and now he's in some trouble. To take another chance on a malcontent like Luther Burden, I think is probably a ship too far for this particular team. We'll have to see what happens. Let's see. Yep. Minotaur wants Bosa. I'm guessing it's going to be the Bosa show in San Francisco. I would expect them to be playing together. I don't know how much Joey's got left either, I got to tell you. Ever since he signed that contract, it has been a steady and rapid decline, in my opinion. Could always bring back D-Hop, even though he was a non-factor in the playoffs. He has a season in his pocket for the Chiefs. And that would allow him to, I think, play a bigger role. I just don't know, A, if he wants to play, or if B, the Chiefs want to take that time. I think there might be some disappointment out there about him not being able to contribute in a bigger way initially, and I don't know if they're willing to throw more money in it. Combat. Not happening with Hollywood. And extending Trey and McDuffie next year. Henderson. I mean, yeah. Maybe. Respecting the run, it can be about the players, but it's honestly, in this situation, it's more about Andy and his willingness to run. And I think that's probably the thing that in the end makes teams not respect it, because they know that he just won't power through it. He won't continue to dedicate it. Definitely not expensive. Jalen Noel from Iowa State. Dan likes him as well. I saw a little bit of him when I was watching film on someone else, and he did stand out a couple of times. I haven't broken him all the way down, but he's definitely on the list for us to get to. So, long story short, I haven't seen anything else break on either of these stories now, except that it is official that Hollywood is a one-year deal for $11 million up to. That includes incentives, and it does appear that there's back and forth about the circumstances around what happened with Hollywood, with Xavier last night, excuse me. So let's hope that Hollywood can stay healthy. He's had some trouble with that in the past. Let's hope that this is a domestic dispute that is not exactly what has been claimed. And if that does happen, then, no harm, no foul. Very similar situations happens to a lot of players in this league that are accused of things or threatened to be accused of things to extort something out of them. Unfortunately, it's not something we talk about in the NFL very much, but it does happen quite often. So let's hold our breath and see what happens, see what comes of it, and we'll try to get there. Will's had something here. I'm trying to get you clicked here, buddy. Will said, we just lost a Hall of Fame guard, desperately need a left tackle. Obviously, he's in wide receiver course. Just adds to the pile of needs. I'm going to be really interested to see what they do initially, because I think they had a plan of how to start free agency. I don't think it was just going to be like first thing, all out blitz, but I do think they were going to be a little more active than they usually are, where they wait a couple of weeks. So let's see what happens. I do think that I already thought they were going to draft another wide receiver. I think they might push into day 2 now at this point. I don't think it can be a pick on the first pick in round 1. I just don't think that that's there unless somebody dramatic falls, because you have needs at too many other places that waiting hurts you more than waiting for receivers does, if you catch my drift. So I think we'll have to just pay attention to that. Now, I am going to be tied up with sports over the weekend for my kids, but if something else breaks, I may be coming to you from a hotel room or from the car, but I will give you the lowdown when I know it. So thank you guys for jumping on here. I hope that your Saturday goes better now that you got some bad news in the morning. Now you got Hollywood in the afternoon. So hopefully it balances out, and we will continue to monitor. Join us Monday night for Q&A, and tomorrow night we'll have content for you. Probably not live, but we'll see how that goes. And start looking at mock drafts, because it's that season. I hope you guys have a good one. And thank you, Minotaur, and everybody else who joined me today. Have a good one. I'll catch you later.